Hello, and welcome back to another Chris McPherson Show, World Cup Daily. And we've made it to the final edition of the World Cup Daily as we look to preview the final after weeks of chaos, big scores, collapses, upsets, some semi-final drama, and some unbelievable individual performances throughout the tournament. It all comes down to this. India up against New Zealand. India on home soil. New Zealand looking to break their duck in men's World Cups. The defending champions, well, they're at home. They've got all the pressure, all the expectations up against a stubborn, resourceful, and quietly ruthless tournament team in world cricket. The Kiwis know how to get to this point. Can they get over the next hurdle? Well, that is a big question. Of course, if you've been enjoying our cricket content, make sure to hit like on the video, hit subscribe on the channel, and get involved. Drop us a comment. Let us know how you see the World Cup final playing out. Let us know who's been your biggest disappointments, who's been your biggest surprises throughout the tournament. And of course, you can catch all of our sports shorts snippets on your social media at The Chris Mack Show, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X. We're across all four with varying content. But let's get in and let's dig into the final. Let's start with the team's run to the final. And India, well, they've had the deepest squad in the tournament, I think it's fair to say. They've looked like those players coming in from the rotations have not missed a beat. They've had opportunities, and anyone within their squad can do a job. They certainly haven't been flawless with that one loss to South Africa, but they've found ways to adapt and solve problems mid-tournament. Some early shuffles in the batting lineup, then the call to bring in Sanju Samson changed the complexion of their campaign. He's been a great asset. They've posted some huge scores late in the event, including one of the all-time great semi-final batting efforts against England to set that mammoth total. Jasprit Bumrah's been their banker with the ball. Hardik Pandya has been the everywhere man, and their batting is now coming in waves and performing consistently. India haven't always looked like they're at their absolute best throughout the tournament, which is probably a scary thing if you're New Zealand. They've still made it through to another final, yet despite not yet finding their top gear. On the flip side of the coin, we've got New Zealand. It's been a far less smooth route to the final, but very New Zealand. They nearly didn't make the semis at all. They needed results elsewhere to fall their way. They've had to adapt to conditions across India and Sri Lanka, juggling team balance and matchups as they go from venue to venue. But once they got in, they did what New Zealand do. They stayed calm. They lent into their tactics that are always a strength of Kiwi sides. They found role players to deliver, and the team as a whole delivered in the knockout stage. Their semi-final demolition of South Africa was their best game of the tournament by miles, suggesting that maybe, just maybe, they're peaking at the right part of the tournament. Finn Allen's record 100, smart use of McConchie, and a bowling unit that read the game perfectly and hit their marks. They've gone from hanging on to one game from the trophy, and all of New Zealand is surely behind them and getting revved up. In terms of how they stack up against each other, well, India, ridiculous batting depth. They can come hard from ball one and keep coming even if you take wickets. Multiple game breakers, Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya, Suryakumar Yadav and Tilak Varma. And then the structural balance of their bowling attack. They've got seam, they've got spin, it all stacks up. When they're with the bat, they've got the power play hitters, they've got death hitters, and the same with the ball. Bowlers that can strike in the power play, bowlers that can strict in the middle overs, and then, of course, those that can strike late. Jasprit Bumrah leading the charge, who changes games just by being there. Hardik Pandya gives them two players in one, a power play and death over bowler, and finishing power with the bat. The one clear tactical pressure point for them, off spin to the left-handers. India's left-handed heavy top and middle order has looked more vulnerable to off spin than any other style this tournament. The other question when you look at the Indian lineup is Varun Chakravarti. He is dangerous. He is still taking wickets, but he's also been very expensive and less threatening as we get into the deeper pieces of the tournament through the Super 8s and semi-finals. It'll be a question mark as to whether or not he's in that lineup. India is certainly brilliant, but they're not quite bulletproof. On the flip side of the coin, New Zealand. Their biggest strength is clarity of role. They know exactly who they are. They are adaptable. They are matchup driven. They are ego-free, and they are tactically brave, unafraid to throw off the shackles. Their top order can take away the game fast through Tim Seifert and Finn Allen. Rachin Ravindra and Mitchell Santner give them bowling intelligence, not just overs to churn through. They're very strong in the field. They think well, and they tend not to panic when under pressure. They're also excellent at finding contributions from unexpected places, whether that's mid to tail enders chipping in, or batting all-rounders, getting tossed the ball and getting a wicket when it's key. Their margin for error, though, much thinner than India's, it's fair to say. They don't have the depth, nor do they have the Jasprit Bumrah-style cheat code. They don't quite have the raw batting depth if early wickets fall either. If their plans don't land early, they can get stretched quickly and be in hot water early. The other question is balance. Do they go back to Jimmy Neesham again, or do they want the extra specialist bowler in Duffy? Against India, you cannot afford any passengers in your 11, whether it be with bat or ball. Speaking of players, we need to talk the key players in this matchup, and let's start with India's key players. Jasprit Bumrah. We touched on him before. He is the game's biggest pressure release valve. He is outstanding in all forms of the game. In big matches, he doesn't just bowl well. He changes the shape of the chase. He constricts. He strikes with wickets. He has it all. He did it in the semi-final. He's done it in finals before. It's easy to say Bumrah is a big match player. If New Zealand are chasing, he's going to be the key figure. If Bumrah can give India 2 elite overs at the death again as well, it's going to be very hard for a side to get away, and India will be very hard to beat. We flip to Hardik Pandya now, and he's the ultimate big match all-rounder. He's got it all. New ball, death overs, late hitting, boundary fielding, pressure moments. He's been involved in all of it throughout this tournament and undoubtedly will be again here on the biggest of stages. Statistically, he's one of the best death over batters and one of the most reliable death over bowlers in T20 World Cups. He doesn't have to dominate every phase. He just keeps turning up in the decisive ones as he has done all tournament. And last but not least, on the Indian side, Sanju Samson. His return changed India's tournament. He's come in and immediately given them some tempo, freedom and confidence at the top. If he gets off to another flyer, India can have New Zealand chasing leather early and they'll post a huge total. He's also become so central to how India want to play and is not just a plug-in option anymore when India are under pressure and looking to reshuffle. For New Zealand, the key players, Finn Allen. Allen is the X-factor as he showed with that 33-ball century, that fastest century ever in T20 World Cup men's history. If he can survive and settle through the first 2 to 3 overs, he can make all of India's plans disappear and become irrelevant. India's dream and key is to get him early. New Zealand's dream is that he gives them another absurd power play and the foundation and platform to go on and set something that even India can't chase down with their batting depth. Rachin Ravindra, he might be the most tactically important player in the match on the New Zealand side. He's gone from being a run-getter in previous World Cups to being a huge bowling piece in this tournament. Subtle changes of pace, angle and seam, and against India's left-hand heavy order, he'll be tested differently. But he's also one of the best of New Zealand's and probably world cricket's problem solvers with the ball. The one thing, though, he can bring influence from both sides, both with the bat and the ball, and if he delivers on one or both, then New Zealand will have a firm grip on the World Cup trophy. Last but not least, the New Zealand captain, Mitchell Santner. He's the calm brain of this side. As captain and a key bowler, he sets the tone for New Zealand when they want to squeeze games, especially through those middle overs. And if New Zealand are going to keep India down closer to 200 to 210 rather than a 250, Santner's middle overs are going to be huge. And in a final, his ability to stay level, not overreact to being hit over the fence, is absolutely gold. In terms of the teams and the way they line up, well, it's pretty clear cut. The top 7's pretty settled for India. You would expect it would be Sharma, Sampson, Kishan, Varma, Yadav, Pandya and Dubey. The real call is the final bowling slot. You would expect Jasprit Bumrah, Arshdeep Singh and Axar Patel walk up. And then it's a choice between Kuldeep Yadav and his control and variation if they want a more orthodox spin option. Varun Chakravarti, if he gives that mystery wicket-taking option, but has been leaking runs, as we said. Or Mohammad Siraj could come into play if India think Ahmedabad surface is more about hit the deck seam and cutters than turn. I personally think that Kuldeep will be a serious consideration, but they may just look for Varun for wicket-taking threat and then back themselves to chase down any runs that are leaked. For the Kiwis, it's pretty straightforward again. Their batting lineup is set. Seifert, Allen, Ravindra, Phillips, Chapman, Mitchell and Santner will be their 7. McConchie will be there as well. He's been brilliant. Santner alongside him, very relevant tactically, as is McConchie. The big balance call will be, do they go Jimmy Neesham or Jacob Duffy as that bowling option? Neesham gives them depth and matchup flexibility as well as a bit of late hitting. Duffy gives you another top-tier bowler, and against India, taking wickets may just matter more. If India think this is a 200-plus belt fest, I think Duffy becomes very tempting in terms of strike rate. because otherwise you're bringing Nisham in for a grind it down and find some late runs for you, as well as maybe chiming in with some tight overs. Well, the match itself, Ahmedabad, a mixed red and black soil pitch, not a lot of turn, some good bounce, and enough pace for batters to be able to hit through the line. The par score looks to be at least 200, you would think. It's basically a fresh surface, just one match having been played on it, which will really matter. Does not look like a ranked turner where the mystery spin dominates. It feels more like a surface where power play, intent, and execution will matter. Hit the deck seamers will get value, and death bowling will be absolutely crucial. If India bat first and get away, they can put up something monstrous, but New Zealand won't give them the same level of freebies that England did. Expect New Zealand to take on the off-spin matchup against India's lefties, and expect India to target New Zealand's seam support outside of Henry and Ferguson. India's focus will be a fast start, and then Hardik, Pandya, Sky, and Tilak Varma to keep the pressure constant and keep the acceleration moving. New Zealand will need wickets up top, then squeeze India into a good but not insane total. If New Zealand bat first, Allen and Seifert versus Bumrah, Arshdeep and Hardik is the game's first major collision. Get the early win, get the early advantage, and probably go a long way towards sealing a T20 World Cup. This feels like one of those finals where 2 to 3 over windows could decide everything, whether it's one in the power play, one in the middle, or one at the death, where someone can just swing the momentum and turn what should have been a little window with no wickets into one with 3, or a little window with limited runs around the 20 from 3 overs into all of a sudden 50 plus from 3 overs. They could be the key levers to pull on. India's pressure for this one's certainly going to be different. It's a home final. They're the defending champions, and it's the same venue where they suffered their one-day international World Cup heartbreak in 2023. Surya Kumar Yadav has already talked about this, the captain. There will be nerves, there will be butterflies, but pressure is part of the fun. New Zealand, the perfect underdog. They don't need to be louder. They don't need to be more talented. They just need to be cleaner with their execution in key moments. It's a beautiful contrast that this sets up. India, almost unlimited depth and options. New Zealand, role clarity, care, and a culture that gets absolutely every ounce of value out of what it has. India can win by overwhelming you. New Zealand can win it by outthinking you. It's a mouth-watering clash, and we certainly cannot wait for it to get underway. And that's your full World Cup Daily final preview. India versus New Zealand, power versus precision, depth versus detail, and pressure versus freedom. By the end of it, one side will wake up tomorrow morning as World Cup champions. This has been an unreal tournament to get through and cover through these daily hits. A massive thank you for riding the wave all the way through to the World Cup final. If you've enjoyed the journey, make sure to hit like on the video. Hit subscribe on the channel and let us know who your winner and player of the match is down below in the comments. Of course, you can catch all of our sports shorts and snippets over at our social media channels at The Chris Mack Show, X, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Enjoy the finals. Let's see who finishes the job, and we look forward to seeing you again next time on your home of the black and white of sport. No grey opinions here.